were doing it over.
I was like, oh, hold up now.
Yeah.
Why this motherfucker in your bedroom?
No.
A white man.
We would do it over. It wasn't Zoom necessarily. It was a different kind of call, but it's technically the same. Yeah.
I got you. I'm good now. I just said you had to catch me up.
She would be, she would take notice of that. And like, I guess I always said I was tired. And she's like, you always say you're tired. I'm like, it's because I am always tired, Shannon.
Yeah.
And,
Shannon.
And so I guess things just started adding up, and she told me I should look into, she's like, I want you to look into, at first she called it Asperger's, which I know it's not called that anymore because of Nazi shit.
Yeah, you're good.
And then, she started talking to me about like different autism and possibly ADHD, OCD type stuff like that.
Yep.
And so obviously she was not, she wasn't able to do the testing thing. So I'm actually with a different therapist who is within a group that does
the testing.
All of that. But yeah, she was the first person that had ever mentioned that to me, because in my mind, even as a nurse, I'd always just thought of the criteria for autism being what you typically see for young boys and that sort of thing. But once I started looking at like all of the criteria, like the DSM-5 stuff, and just looking through that, I'm like, I don't know, I saw me for the first time, and it was like, this makes so much sense. This is why I've struggled for so long. And it was relief, but it was also like, looking back, it's like, if I had known then, like, maybe I could have felt, maybe I wouldn't have felt so shitty.
Facts.
Because I was constantly just sitting on the side of my bed in tears. I did some self-harming over the years back then, because I didn't know how to deal with the feelings or even understand what they were. I'd always sucked with sort of understanding my own feelings. I did a lot of writing, which helped. Of course, my mom found my journals, and I got sent to see a counselor along with my psychiatrist at that time, because my mom thought I was, on the verge of doing something worse. And, But my mom did the best she could. She raised me by herself. In fact, I think my mom is actually undiagnosed.
We're about to get into it. Don't worry about it. We're about to get into it.
Yeah. Personally, like, a lot of the stuff that I see in me, I actually see much more prevalent in her. So.
Sorry. That was the autism force choking him.
Chicken nuggets. Oh, sorry.
We've been doing this for a long time. Sorry.
Okay.
That was magnificent. Thank you for all that, on your honesty.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense. Obviously, I don't want to make her story about you, Adam, but how long were y'all married before she got diagnosed? Or together?
Almost. Yeah. We were married for almost a decade. And so she had the therapist suggest, I think you might be on the spectrum. She starts doing her own research, of course, feverishly.
I'm sure that's intense.
And you guys know how, oh my God. She's the one that puts together all of the research for our podcast. And it is like just professional, great stuff.
I sit there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like, twice a week.
But, she would show me videos of experts. Tony Atwood is one, Dr. Tony Atwood. He has an autistic child. Yeah. He would describe, one trait after another. And I would look at Becca like, yeah, you do all this. Like, it's a perfect, the entire constellation of symptoms is just right there. And it was relief for me because, relief for me as well, because now we know she's never actually dealt with classic depression or anxiety or OCD. Those are just symptoms of what is actually going on internally. It's not that she's having classic panic attacks or classic general anxiety disorder. It's that she's melting down. She's overstimulated. Her bucket is overflowing, and she needs to get out of whatever situation she's in and get into quiet, dark, some sort of stimming behavior to recharge. And so but that all happened in the context of my life turned upside down individually because I escaped fundamentalist Christianity.
This is around the same time. So
it's around the same time.
Yeah.
And so that happened. We're raising a child. We don't know that she is autistic or neurodivergent.
Yep.
So, your relationship with your spouse changes drastically when you have children anyway. There's lots of things that, and you got to like rediscover, like, wow, how do I connect with this person that I've been with now? You almost have to reinvent yourself.
100%.
You have to go back to basics. And so that's all going on. I'm finally starting to understand, I'm a big physical touch person. Now I'm starting to understand, she doesn't hate to touch me. She doesn't, you guys are killing me. She does not, I don't repulse her physically. It's not that.
Put that thing away, Jeffrey.
It's not all that.
Why is it so big?
Adam.
I'm trying to be so for real right now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were a woman.
Hey, buddy, how you doing, man?
Why does it smell like Fritos?
Hey, praise he. Am I right?
Praise
Am I right?
he. Oh my God. Get back on track.
Just so you don't get scared.
Sorry.
Sure. It wasn't that. It's that she has a bucket. She's got a certain amount of spoons is some of the language you'll hear.
Yep.
And it's like, the reason this never felt like this before was because you had not had your daughter yet. And you did not know that she has spoons.
Yeah.
So you guys are behaving just like any early married couple does and blah, blah, blah. And then you have a child and the meltdown, she can no longer mask at that point.
Yep.
Because she doesn't have the bandwidth to do so. In her case, there's plenty of, capacities are different from one neurodivergent person to the next.
Yep.
But for her, the masking was over.
Ooh.
And so it was a huge, there was a lot going on at the same time. I've been to therapy myself. I recommend therapy to any human being, honestly. But for me, there was a ton of stuff I was untangling personally, but then also with our relationship now knowing, okay, her brain is physically different from mine.
Yep.
Well, she's also very much a physical touch person. So
she's a big toucher too. She's
she's
always hugging, kissing, sitting on Rebecca. And every time that happens, I take a mental note. Oh, Becca has spent this amount of her capital today. Right. And so, I kind of gauge however she tells me she's feeling. Now it has layers of meaning to it. It's not, I'm kind of tired. It's not just tired. When she says tired, she's not meaning physical fatigue. She's talking about, I can hear the air conditioner and the refrigerator and your voice at the exact same volume.
Yep.
At all times.
I might have heard Jesus in it too,
Are you Daredevil?
Right.
What?
So
I can see it all.
Yeah. That was how I felt when that therapist suggested it all.
Yeah. And her being a child, I feel I can't exactly, I know how important it is for her to have what she needs.
Right.
And so all of that affection tends to go in that direction as opposed to.
Yes.
So.
And she's trying to map out her own sense of self-care while being in the highest demand position you possibly can be in, which is with a small child and she'll feel guilty because she's taking care of herself.
Yeah, we're dealing with that in with my therapist right now, actually. So,
yeah.
Guilt. And like when I was in my 20s before we ever met, I would have a friend that would want me to come out all the time with her, and I basically just drank through all of that. That was my way of like masking. Then was just drinking until I just wasn't cognizant because I couldn't handle being.
Hit that bottle.
I just couldn't. I couldn't handle being out like that around so many big groups of people.
Yep.
But I didn't want to if I figured if I said no, then like I would lose like the only friend that I had too. Yep. So I was like trying to balance all that way.
What'd she just bring in? She bring in a robot?
No, it's a puzzle piece pillow.
Oh, okay. I thought she brought in one of them flying plane thingies.
Oh, no.
What are those called?
The
flying Roombas. What are those robot things called that fly?
Yeah.
They deliver shit.
A drone?
A drone. The flying Roombas.
Flying Roombas.
There are children her age around here
Flying
that have the
Roombas.
drones though, and there's
God.
always one family that puts on the Facebook thing that like, oh, have you seen this drone that my 5-year-old just lost? Like she just got for Christmas, and I'm like, why did you give a 5-year-old a drone?
That's a good question.
Hey, bro, I need
or flying Roomba, as they call it.
I'm about to Google what flying Roomba comes up.
That's a Michigan term. Flying Roomba.
No.
You see that flying Roomba?
That's when you're mentally disabled. That's my term. So Jesus, flying Roombas. Spence, I'm gonna kick it back to you for another question, and then we'll get into the scenes.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Check out the full episode on our channel and anywhere you find podcasts. Also, remember to like and subscribe. Whoop whoop.